Hello, darling. I thought you'd never get rid of that girl.
What are you doing here?
Waiting for you.
What, the hospital?
I didn't like it there.
How did you get here?
You wouldn't believe me if I told you.
Welcome back to Ookum Spookum Podcast. I am your host, Tara, Lord of Hate and Darkness, and over here is...
Sarah, the Lordess of Love and Light. So I'm kind of like the Glinda here.
I know. Does that make me Elphaba?
I don't like Wicked, so I don't really know or care.
Neither of us are Wicked girls. We might just have to have an episode on that. Of just like, witches hate Wicked.
Yeah, I'm not a fan, dude.
To be fair, not all witches hate Wicked. We know several people, either in our community or just in our personal lives, that absolutely adore that movie. I can't stand that shit.
I'm getting a headache just thinking about it.
Oh my God. But lucky for you, listeners, that is not today's topic. What are we talking about today, Sarah?
So we are talking about Men in Black and Black-Eyed Kids. And the whole thing with them, the reason why we're doing it as a 2-4 is because they have a lot of similarities. There's some theories as to what these type of entities are. And we're not exactly sure, but we're going to explore that a little bit. And there is some overlap in some of their characteristics. So we are going to start with the high strangeness, that's a quote, of the Men in Black. First off, we're going to talk about the fact that I'm an alien girl and Tara is a non-alien girl.
I'm sorry, I'm not an alien stan. It's such a topic of debate amongst both of us, and also just in the community in general. Whether yes aliens or no aliens.
Yes aliens is the only accurate way of saying it.
Listen, when I say that, I am not team aliens don't exist. I don't think that's an intelligent position to take. I'm just think that, like, aliens probably look at us the same way that we look at people who have bathtubs in their front lawns, you know?
How many bathtubs in front lawns have you seen?
You gotta go to the backwoods a little more often.
Dude, I lived in Appalachia. But that was only for a few months, so
yes,
I saw very few bathtubs.
Because that's different. Mountain pour is different than plains pour, is different than, like, it's just different. It's different places think different things are acceptable objects of furniture to throw into your front yard.
You are thinking that aliens are not bothering with us, whereas I don't know what exactly I think, but I think that they're messing with us a lot in terms of, like, either as friends or foes. I don't know. Jury's still out. All I know is that I don't put anything past the multiverse. I don't put anything past the government, which is going to come out as we talk about the Men in Black. I'm open to any and all suggestion, you know, and so I kind of did a little bit of a fun thing with the rabbit hole that I went into about the Men in Black.
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if it was a Star Trek thing where they're waiting for us to achieve a certain level of, like, legitimacy or independence.
So I'm very optimistic, and I tend to think that aliens are friendly. If they're mastering interdimensional travel, then they're probably, you know, higher evolved beings that are into, you know, love and light, like me.
And for me, aliens are another species, you know? They could be an analog to us. They could be completely different. We don't know what diseases these things have. We don't know what they eat. We don't know what they want, what they structured their society around.
Exactly. And I think I don't know, I always kind of go towards the light in terms of, like, I think that they're here to help.
I think they exist.
Yeah. Good.
And
well,
that's kind of it. And any relevance or prevalence on human life past that point is when they get here, we'll have that conversation.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about the Men in Black. So as if alien abductions weren't stressful enough, we have the aftermath. With the rise of the flying saucer age in the late 1940s, particularly the lore surrounding Area 51, there was a new phenomenon happening, well, possibly newly reported at least. This would be the concept of MIBs, or Men in Black. Following UFO sightings or actual abduction, agents, I put that in quotes as all agencies have denied their existence, will visit the people involved in abductions or sightings of crafts and, quote, persuade them not to talk. These people, lots of air quotes in this episode, usually come in groups of 2 or 3, dressed in black suits. You've seen pictures of them. They're very in pop culture. They have
that one really kind of shitty movie.
That was a dumb movie. I did like the pug. The pug was cute.
The pug is cute.
Yeah, talking pugs, all about it. So they have waxy or fake looking skin and no hair. no eyelashes even, so totally free of hair on the body.
Oh my god, take me to your laser specialist.
You don't want to get rid of the lashes.
I'd be fine with it. They make magnetic strips.
I guess. So one of the thing with Men in Black is that people report feeling very ill at ease and sometimes even sick in their presence.
Ew, that naked hairless guy is talking to me.
I know. And they're just, they're creepy. I don't know.
Well, think about it like this. If you were a rat and you met a naked mole rat, you'd probably think that guy was either an alien or was something real wrong with him.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's part of it, too, is that they are outside of the norm of what people look like. And that actually is something that I wanted to bring up with this particular Men in Black segment, is that the notion of the uncanny valley, which we talked about last time, which is that there's something just a little bit off about these beings, is that, they seem to... Their movements can be jerky. Their speech is a little bit off. Basically just feeling like they're human but kind of not human at the same time.
Interesting.
So there's a lot of debate in the MIB community.
The MIB community?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just making that up. But there's a lot
Listen, you just made like 6 guys on Reddit really excited.
Yeah, it is kind of what I'm here for, is to excite guys on Reddit. But yeah.
Zesty.
So there's some debate as to whether or not they're actually human. Part of the other section of the debate is if they are government agents or if they're doing like a psyops type of a situation.
Sure, why not?
If you talk to our resident alien friend here, we have a friend at the shop that does an alien night, which is super cool, and
it was a very weird thing to be invited to. I had a good time.
But she always talks about, or when she and I have our conversations, we kind of talk about, the government having disinformation or giving, false, what's the word I'm thinking of?
Testimony?
Disclosure. Disclosure is the official word. Doing that as a psyops to kind of, mess with our heads. And this is my battle cry, is that I don't...
The U.S. government poorly representing a new and a poorly understood thing? That's never happened ever. What do you mean?
Yeah. It's funny because, and I'm going to go back to what we talked about in like the first 2 episodes, which is we're not going to get political, and then always it comes back to the government. I think the next recording that we do is on Bathory, and I think that's going to be a little bit light on the government is wrong.
Oh no, that's just going to be more men are evil than the government is evil.
Okay. All right. So the first recorded event involved a fisherman named Harold A. Dahl. D-A-H-L, not D-O-L-L.
Too bad.
I went to high school with a Dave Dahl, and he was stupid hot. I think he became like a Navy SEAL. Anyway, so this Harold A. Dahl was fishing with his son and dog when he noticed 6 strange-looking crafts in the sky. As the 3 companions looked on in wonder, one of the ships dropped what Dahl referred to as molten lava on their boat. Now, this injured his son, and tragically it killed the dog. I know...
The aliens took a dump on the boat and it killed the dog!
I know, and we're sad because we love dogs. But yeah, that should kind of drill home that maybe the aliens are not our friends. I don't know.
Well, maybe they just don't really understand what's valuable.
Yeah,
they're like, yeah, we can put our poop on there.
It might very well have just been some sort of accident of something coming off the craft.
We have like garbage barges. Yeah. Maybe they just thought that's where you put garbage. I don't know.
Yeah, but Dahl took some of the lava with him. So that is probably what attracted these Men in Black to him, is that he had some sort of proof.
He took it with him?
Yes, he took it with him.
Do we have pictures?
We do not have pictures.
Okay. Sounds like somebody lied. But it would be very interesting that even, like, if he took this thing, right? Mm-hmm. Real or not, and then immediately 2 freaky-looking bald guys show up at your door, I'm thinking it's the CIA.
Yeah, that is what a lot of people think. I think the reason why I kind of go possibly beyond that is just because of how weird they are. And that's not to say that people in the CIA can't be weird. They certainly can, but most of them do have eyelashes, so I don't know. But, shortly after the incident, a, quote, man knocked on the door and dissuaded Dahl from sharing the story with others. While the MIB did not reveal who had sent him, Dahl felt almost hypnotized by the man's words and complied with his request. So that's another common thing that comes up with the Men in Black, is that they seem to have telepathy or some sort of mind control situation where they can really, really strong arm people just by thought.
I was gonna say, do they explain how they dissuade them? I assumed it was kind of the don't ever talk about this or we'll beat the shit out of you kind.
There is that kind, definitely, and then there's also this other added dimension of sometimes, and this is sometimes, people report different things with the Men in Black, so some of them report them being human, some of them don't. But there is sometimes this notion of, you know, supernatural forces rather than just we're gonna beat the shit out of you if you don't recant, which they also do that as well.
I mean, sure, why waste super awesome supernatural powers when you could just, I don't know, kick a guy in the balls and he'll do whatever he wants.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you've got him, flaunt him, you know what I mean? Like, if I had telepathy, I would be communicating with you all day long at the store. And
that's true. You'd be sending me like a missive via neuron of like, oh my god, what the fuck is this dude? Like, she's been here for 3 hours.
Yeah, so that's kind of what was happening with Doll. And I will say that a lot of the time, Men in Black are very effective in getting people to shut up. At first, but then we have these accounts, so clearly not forever.
Well, because then they just talk about them.
Yeah.
They're not talking about the whatever encounter that they had, valid or not.
So it could be a false flag situation.
That's what I really wonder, is if, like, they're giving them something else to talk about. And by denying it, it becomes more interesting.
Yeah, one of the things that the Men in Black say a lot is no one is going to believe you even if you do say anything.
That's very interesting.
Nice little gaslighting. These guys are narcissists, man.
I was about to say, oh my god, dump him.
So that brings us to the next situation, and one of the most documented encounters features a man named Albert K. Bender. He founded the Bender. I built a casino and it has blackjack and hookers. See, we're of different generations. I was thinking of Bender from The Breakfast Club, which is Judd Nelson, and you were thinking of Futurama, which
Rodriguez from Futurama.
Exactly. I was a Simpsons girly. Albert K. Bender founded the International Flying Saucer Bureau in the early 50s. So he was fairly visible with his research into the UFO phenomenon.
Are they always flying saucers?
Do you mean, are they saucer shaped?
Yeah.
There are many different types of craft, I believe. I haven't seen one personally that I remember, although I do have some missing time, and I was actually sober when that happened, so yeah, I know.
You got abducted by a flying cat paw in the sky.
Something. I don't know. All I know is that I was in the kitchen, I looked at the clock, and it was like midnight, and then I looked back and it was 3, and I was standing in the same spot. So
that's freaky as fuck.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
I can't imagine you had a positive feeling about it.
No, and this was when I had like, I don't know, like 15 years sober too. So like I wasn't using weed or anything. It was just definitely a situation where there was just like 3 hours missing. It might have been.
You don't just like pass out where you're standing.
Yeah, I mean, I was still standing when I came to, and I think that it's, yeah, I don't know. And again, I put nothing past the multiverse. So going back to Albert K. Bender, he was a prime target for Men in Black because he was so visible with the Flying Saucer Bureau. He met the Man in Black soon enough. He started receiving strange phone calls, and that's common too, is the use of technology. Not that phones were such great technology back then, but there is a lot of reports of strange phone calls. When we get into there's another person later that had a lot of strange phone calls as well. One night he felt himself being watched as he walked home, only to be greeted with the smell of burning sulfur. That's interesting.
Usually, sulfur is something that we associate with
demons.
Exactly.
There is a theory that these are demons. Now, okay, when we start getting all weird and into all the crazy stuff, there's going to be a lot of overlap with the Men in Black and the Black-Eyed Kids and things like demons, multidimensional beings, cryptids. I mean, just about anything you can think of.
Sure. Everything's kind of just lumped together at a certain point.
Just call it fucking weird.
It's, it's like when you shake the bottom of the Chinese takeout bag and it's just sticky residue of God knows what. That's kind of what this is.
Yeah. And we don't really know what any of this phenomenon is, so I keep saying the word phenomenon. That's really annoying.
Well, phenomenon seems to be more accurate to what it is, or to what it seems to be reported as.
Yeah. So yeah, he had the smell of burning sulfur, which, you know, I was thinking demons too. That was the first thing that I thought when I read that.
We as witches typically will use sulfur in like banishing or like really extreme protective measures, mostly because it smells awful.
It really does. It's only the only thing that smells worse than that is valerian, but
Ew.
valerian will get you to sleep. So
See, but valerian goes away eventually. Sulfur, it's just on your hands the whole day.
I hate when people ask for us to weigh out the sulfur. Yeah.
Listen, order all the sulfur that you want, guys. I don't feel bad about needing certain things. I will be taking it outside and wearing gloves and whining about it the entire time.
Exactly. Not only did he smell the sulfur, but he saw a floating orb in his house. Now, the person that wrote the book, Men in Black, Evidence and True Stories About Earth's Most Mysterious Cover Agents, thinks that this is possibly surveillance from ETs. His house and his UFO files had been destroyed. And he later found himself stalked by MIBs. They would follow him when he went to the movies. They would follow him home. And, you know, the one thing that was interesting is that they would, like, appear and disappear at will. I mean, it would just be seconds. And this was, you know, a lot of times there would be a phone call and they would say, you know, they would actually be at the door, like, a few minutes later. And it was, you know, before cell phones. So it was, you know, where the fuck are you calling from kind of a thing.
Oh, my.
So that's kind of a strange thing.
I was about to say, this isn't the age of the switchboard, right?
50s.
That is. 50s 100% is the age of the switchboard.
Yeah.
That makes it even creepier.
Yeah, definitely a little bit freaky. So let's see. He felt ill whenever he was followed by these beings. That's something that comes up a lot, is this notion of feeling just sick. And one finally approached him a few weeks after the orb appeared in his house. And he warned Benner to stop his research into UFOs, and Bender, thoroughly terrified, agreed. So he pretty much cut ties with the flying saucer.
Wow.
Yeah.
He just abandoned he started it, didn't he? And he just straight up abandoned it. Wow.
Yeah. He was scared. I mean, and I guess I would be too. You know, and that's kind of something that points to me as this was kind of a real phenomenon, is that he ended up changing his life because of it. And I don't think that would have happened if nothing had happened. So that's kind of why I believe that this is a possibility. Another person who had close contact with the Men in Black is Dr. Herbert Hopkins. So he was a hypnotherapist who researched UFOs. Someone pretending to be a fellow researcher with interest in his UFO work called him and asked to meet. Within minutes, this person was at his front door. This is, again, the pre-cell phone days. In, you guessed it, a black suit. His dog had a visceral reaction to the man. Now, we know that animals are always the first to know.
Animals always know.
Yeah.
Anytime your pet has a weird reaction to somebody, take that seriously.
Yeah.
They know things we don't.
Exactly.
Because they experience the world at a very different level than we do. Then again, sometimes you can teach your dog to have inherent biases. Like, you can teach animals to be racist, and that's horrible. But beyond that, right, if there is no external strange, like, bias happening there, take things seriously.
Exactly.
People tell you things for a reason, your animals included.
Absolutely, definitely. Always listen to a dog. So within minutes, this person was at his front door, and his dog had a visceral reaction, like I said. The man had the classic look of pale, waxy skin and no hair whatsoever. And this time, the Men in Black had a very red lips, and he wiped that with his hand, and it smeared like lipstick. Oh. So there's one of the concepts about this particular Men in Black experience is that he was using makeup to appear more human.
You gotta use the matte lipstick next time, honey.
Exactly.
That's what happens when you use satin. It just goes all over the place.
Exactly. So, yeah, that's a little weird, and...
Maybelline Superstay, brought to you by the Men in Black. Have you had all of your facial features completely wiped off of your body, including your hair? Try Maybelline.
Exactly.
Stays for 14 hours, no matter who you're torturing into silence.
So the Men in Black informed Hopkins that Hopkins had 2 coins in his pocket, which he confirmed. Hopkins later stated that he felt hypnotically drawn to this being, as it told him to take one of the coins and give it to him. The coin then began to change both shape and color in the being's hand, and then vanished. The being then informed him that that coin will never be seen on this planet again. He then referenced a couple who were famous alien abductees, Betty and Barney Hill. If you are interested in them, there's tons and tons and tons of information about them, and the craft that they saw, and their experiences with ETs. It's a fascinating story. And after they came forward with their account of being taken to an alien ship, Barney eventually died, unrelated, we think. But, who knows? The Men in Black then said that Barney passed away because he no longer has a heart, much like Hopkins no longer had a coin. He then pressed the doctor to stop his UFO research. Hopkins was obviously shaken by the encounter, was concluded when the Men in Black stated his energy was, quote, running low. The fuck? Okay. My energy is running low.
What? Okay, I don't know what to do with half of the things you just told me. What do you mean my energy is running low after I just quantum evaporated a quarter? Like, what?
Yeah, so if we're talking about them as if they're multidimensional beings, their physics are going to be a lot different than our physics.
This is true.
But I feel like saying that your energy's running low, I don't know.
Are you a construct? Are you a golem of some sort? Like,
that might be coming up in the next, the second part of our talk, is talking about like tulpas and stuff like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, so there is some variation in how the Men in Black are described. Commonalities, like in the case of Hopkins, include being pale, waxy-skinned, hairless, dressed in black suits, capable of hypnotic speech or telepathic thoughts. People find them unnerving and otherworldly, and therefore there is some debate about whether these strange beings are government agents, and if so, which branch do they work for? You were thinking CIA, right?
I think of CIA just because my godfather works for the FBI, and anytime I reference the FBI in the same way that we all do, of just like the ha ha ha, there's a little FBI man watching me in the camera, he always goes, no, that's the that's the NSA, or
yes.
Oh, that's this. The fact that I don't think the FBI has nearly the level of power that the other two branches definitely
yes.
do.
We are girls from McLean, so we know a little bit about it.
Sometimes stop in front of the CIA headquarters.
Exactly. So I would go CIA as well, or some sort of other branch that we have no idea even exists.
That feels more likely.
Yeah.
I feel like this is some kind of weird subdivision of the CIA that is for weird alien crackpots.
Yeah. So Mulder and Scully were FBI agents, I believe, too, and they had a whole section on the X-Files. But yes, I agree that I don't think it would be the FBI. I think that it would either be CIA, NSA, or some sort of weird other letter acronym that we don't know yet.
Maybe it's the weird hybrid alien human children from clapping the alien cheeks in Area 51. All my brothers that tried to raid it. We will never forget you, but
you're the real MVPs. That's a thing. Hybrid alien stuff. Yes, that is something that has been posited with both the Men in Black and the Black Eyed Kids.
I was just bullshitting.
Yep. Nope.
Oh my God.
That is a theory. There are a lot of theories, and I'm open to any and all theories. I don't believe all of them necessarily, but I am very open.
I certainly think there's a pattern of activity here.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would write these things off because, again, why are we describing the exact same thing with different details?
Yes, exactly. All right. So the government does deny the existence of these beings and also of the agents. Also, if they're human agents, why do they appear strangely inhuman? People report that they sometimes seem to have awkward, jerky movements as if they're trying to act human but aren't. Some serious uncanny valley shit, which we talked about. In Bender's case, the inclusion of orbs and the vanishing coin points to supernatural origins or extraterrestrial origins. So, in this vein, we now go to the theories. First up, interdimensional beings. So, I mentioned earlier about the phone calls. Have you seen the movie The Mothman Prophecies?
Yes.
That is going to make this a little bit easier. That's about John Keel. So he's a paranormal investigator behind the Mothman Prophecies. And he was visited by a woman in black, girl power. And there is some speculation that Mothman himself is a multi-dimensional type of cryptid. So we'll get more into Keel and the Mothman on our cryptid episode. Women can be anything these days.
Women are always everything.
Except to get paid the same amount as men.
Yes,
So Keel did refer to the Men in Blacks as capable of tech beyond our comprehension, and he called them ultra-terrestrials. This would work well with the fact that Men in Black can reportedly appear and disappear in seconds. Also, if they're working with aliens rather than the government, it would make sense that they can travel through dimensions, as aliens most likely travel that way. If they are not human, this is what I would tend to agree with. So I'm thinking either super secret government agency, possibly multidimensional being that has some sort of vested interest in what the aliens are doing.
I mean, it may even be like our experiments with certain quantum theories, right? Of making things appear or move between spaces pretty quickly, wormhole tech, whatever. Like, unfortunately, we're never really going to know just what level of technological advancement the American government is actually at, let alone any government, really. There's only two things that are kind of on our side here, and that is most governments, regardless of where you are incompetent on some level.
Yes.
So even if they do have access to this sort of technology, whatever, that doesn't mean that they can consistently use it, let alone understand it.
Yes, and then you get into all these weird rabbit hole theories about Eisenhower making deals with the ETs and that sort of a thing. And yes, that is, you're looking at me like I'm crazy. I didn't come up with that theory.
I'm just picturing the Tim Burton, like, Martians.
Oh,
talking,
from Mars Attacks?
Yes, talking to FDR in his wheelchair, like,
that wasn't FDR. Oh, yeah, in the movie it was. Okay, yes, no, but yeah, supposedly Ike. I like Ike, and Ike apparently likes ETs. So, yay!
I'm just picturing, like, those strange, like, tabloid pages. Eisenhower, I was dicked down by aliens!
Exactly. So some believe that the Men in Black are themselves aliens, or possibly humans that have time travel. If you've seen the movie Interstellar, that's kind of...
Yes.
And sorry about the spoiler alerts if you haven't seen it. I saw it in the...
It's devastating. Watch it if you want to cry.
I saw it at the Udvar Hazy Museum, which had this
I
huge...
love the Udvar Hazy.
Yeah. I actually think that the Air and Space Museum is so fucking boring, but I remember I was with my cousin one time, and my family was dragging my cousins around when they were little to the Air and Space, and
sure, do the whole tourist circuit, as you do.
And my cousin was like, "I've never been more bored in my entire life," and I was like, "I feel that so hardcore." But when I saw Interstellar at Udvar Hazy, it was in one of these crazy IMAXs, and it was just absolutely beautiful. Just that Christopher Nolan, oh my god.
I'm glad the scientific community embraced that movie as much as they did. I mean, it's an amazing film, but in general, it's...
Yep. So we're going to go off track a little bit here. This is definitely an interesting theory that I don't subscribe to.
I love when conversations start that way.
There's a theory that the Men in Black are actually fairies, or fae.
You can just say they're gay, Sarah. You don't gotta call them fairies.
This is due to their enchanting people with hypnotism, their fluid notions of time and space, their ability to shapeshift, and their trickster-like nature. We're going to do a session on fairies, a recording on fairies in the future. We'll be talking a little bit more about them, and what's your thoughts on that?
Don't fuck with fairies.
Yeah, pretty much, and don't eat food from people you don't know. But yeah, so there's a theory that they're fairies. I don't think that is true at all. Some believes that the Men in Black are themselves aliens or possibly humans that have time traveled. We talked about that. People have put forth the idea that Men in Black are manifestations of the collective unconscious.
Interesting.
Yeah. This also comes up in the Black-Eyed Children too. That basically some real Jungian type stuff.
That people in general are afraid of bald, hairless men of authority.
That could be part of it, yeah.
Us as a society really got to contend with how bad the daddy issues run, you know?
Well, that was more Freud than Jung, but yeah. So the thing about that is with it's the manifestation of collective unconscious is like this thought that the shadow self, and me and my shadow work stuff, gets projected outward and it becomes basically a tulpa. Mm-hmm. And so that is a thought form that becomes real through communal belief. There's a lot of power in groupthink. There's a lot of power in hysteria. That's why, cults work.
Yes.
That's why manifestation works if you're talking about things like, group meditations calling forth something.
One of my friends who is not in this world at all, like very, very anti, we used to get into arguments, was like, I manifested for the first time the other day and it worked and I don't know how to feel. And I was like, yeah.
We have power. I mean, that's the whole thing with witches. I remember one time we were in circle. I do a women's circle on Tuesday nights at the shop, and we were in circle, and somebody was talking about something they wanted to change, and somebody was like, dude, we're witches. You know what I mean? Like,
this literally, I send you that Instagram video every time it shows up on my feed of like, we are magical fucking people. Let's act like it.
Exactly. So the reason why I think why I'm so open to all of these different theories, well, not really the fairy ones, but in general, weird. Yeah, is because I have seen some weird shit. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen some definite weird shit, and stuff that I can't explain, and there's a lot of stuff that's above my pay grade, and definitely weird government agencies are beyond my pay grade. So that would explain that. Yeah. So we talked about them possibly being a tulpa. And then finally there's the possibility that this is a psyops, disinformation from the government, trying to cause confusion about the truth about aliens. And like I always say, I put nothing past the government, but if they are supernatural, I put nothing past the multiverse.
I mean, I think this could be a both. Mm-hmm. I also think maybe CIA agents are just creepy on purpose.
Yeah, I would say that that's possibly true. I grew up, it's weird because both of us grew up in McLean, and that's where the CIA building is, and so I knew a lot of people whose family was CIA, but we couldn't really prove it. Yeah. They'd be like, oh yeah, I'm going on an assignment for work to, like, Dubai for, like, 3 years, and I work for Pepsi. Yeah, it's just weird.
Yeah, where it's kind of stuff where it's just like, okay, you do that, buddy.
Yeah.
Why do you only have one suitcase, though?
Yeah. So, this is all stuff, again, like, above my grade. I don't really want to know, to be honest with you.
This is one of those things where my world is not going to come to an end if I never figure out the truth about this. Mm-hmm. This does feel like one of those that is probably more mundane. The weird details is kind of what trips me up. Mm-hmm. And again, I think that's one of those, we don't know what our own government is capable of. We really don't. And at the end of you have to sit there and go, okay, but why? Mm-hmm. Why are they fighting this hard against alien information of any sort? Against people that, in general society, would not be taken seriously.
So my thought process has a lot to do with the aliens being friendly. They don't want us to have that kind of a relationship with them. Mm-hmm. Because if we go into, a relationship with multidimensional beings who are about love, we're not going to be controlled by fear anymore.
Yes, you can't really make a whole lot of money off of love.
Exactly. It just made me think of Mr. Burns on The Simpsons. I bring you love.
I know. The De Beers Diamond Corporation just said, hold my beer.
So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I go with it. That's a possibility. It could be the total opposite, that they are not our friends and the government is hiding it for some other reason, or that they're trying to do disinformation, which is definitely a possibility.
Alien intent could be as diverse as human intent. Not every human being has the best interest of their whole species at heart.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not every alien species is going to like us, and they're certainly not indebted to.
Yeah.
Look at us. Again, I feel like we're the white trash of the galaxy.
Yeah, I would go along with that. They're probably pretty disappointed in us at the moment.
But that doesn't mean that we are not capable of restructuring, right?
Yeah.
The difference between us having a society that is more focused on love, positive benefit, working for each other, I'm sure some of you have a specific theme song in the background as I say these things. Those are systemic choices that are made by multiple generations of people choosing to do better. And the only thing that is in the way of change like that is each other. Yeah. So, how do you discredit somebody who may be a little bit weird, but generally has your best interest at heart? You tell people they don't exist. Mm-hmm.
Or they fearmonger. They do. Eventually, there will be a disclosure that they do exist, and
they're
out to get us.
I was about to say, didn't the U.S. government during the whole oh god, the Epstein files, what are we gonna do debacle last year? We're like, aliens are real, guys. Here, look at this thing, and it's like a shriveled little like scrote in a coffin. And I'm like, that is not an alien. You guys made that up out of toilet paper in the office 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. There's a lot of reasons why they would come out again or saying either that they're not real or they are real, and a lot of it has nothing to do with the truth. Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're going to take a little break
for stretch my legs.
Yeah, we're going to have a little cigarette. Except we don't smoke, so we're not going to have a cigarette.
A metaphorical space cigarette.
Exactly. And I will let you guys know what is happening this week coming up in the store.
Let's let Victor take it from here.
Okay.
You mind if I smoke?
Okay, so Sunday, May 3rd, we have the Sacred Body Health Improvement for Witches at 10 a.m. We have Witchcrafting at 1 p.m. and Professionalizing Your Metaphysical Gifts at 5 p.m. On Monday, May 4th, we have Queer Circle at 7:30. Tuesday, May 5th, we have 6:45 o'clock Women's Circle. Yay. And then Saturday, May 9th, we're doing an Ancestor Night. So that's what's going on in our neck of the woods.
You ever looked up at the big, great sky and thought, how can I make this about me? Try listening to Astro Tarot John, your guide to the stars and to all things astrology. NCGR certified and can draw charts by hand. Listen to his Twitch streams live Tuesday nights to break down your favorite celebrities' charts or book a private reading and reveal secrets to your own life.
That the Epstein one was killer, so yeah. Not that he's a favorite celebrity of mine, but yeah.
You know, we can have problematic faves.
Okay. All right, so
we'll
now...
see you guys in a minute.
Yeah.
Smoke?
I always smoke at the theater. Somehow it enhances the performance.
Now to something that is very much supernatural in nature, the Black-Eyed Kids. And it was funny because I was talking to my friend Chad about this, and he was like, wait a minute, did they have, like, they were punched? And I was like, no.
See,
no.
Yes, there's this second myth called the child puncher who goes around and hits children in the eyes so they go and be freaky to other adults. And it's a cyclical thing, really. The ecosystem of cryptids is fascinating.
Yep. So these adorable scamps are a phenomenon made infamous by a writer named Brian Bethel. He put forth what some consider to be an urban legend in the early days of the internet. 1998, great year. I was in college. You were, what, -2?
Yeah, about that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was, yeah, okay.
-3, I think.
Sweet. So there were accounts of these beings before Bethel, but his account went viral. It's kind of where he's kind of considered the ground zero for this. But he is not by far the only person that's experienced this, and he was not the first. And he's very clear about that. He describes an encounter he had in Abilene, Texas. Gotta be Texas, right?
Abilene, Texas.
Is it Abilene?
Yes, sir. It's Abilene.
Oh, man. I am so northern. He was sitting in his car outside of a movie theater one night when he was approached by two boys between the ages of 10 and 14. Right off the bat, I'm freaked out. I don't like boys between the ages of 10 and 14.
I don't like boys, period.
Yeah, or kids. The boys had their heads down, and Bethel felt very confused and nervous. On the surface, it was just two little kids, but he felt very much like he was dealing with entities that were not human. When the children looked up, he noticed they had black eyes. Solid black eyes. No sclera. You know, they didn't have the whites of the eyes. The children asked him if he would give them a ride so they could go see a movie. They needed to get money, apparently. The movie, or the money was at their house. He saw that the movie playing was almost over, and this did not inspire confidence that the boys weren't sinister. He was silent for a moment. The boys then said, quote, "Come on, mister, now we just want to go to our house and we're just little boys." If you're just little boys, you have to, like, repeat that you're just little boys.
I was about to say, why did you have to tell him that? Why did you repeat? I get it. Kids are probably like, hey, come on, mister, I'm just a kid. How am I supposed to do blah, 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 blah. But also, like, why did you have to remind me that you're a child?
Precisely. Again. And we're going back to the Uncanny Valley again, which is that they look almost like they're real, but then you see the eyes and you're just like, okay, that's off. So when he still didn't yield, the boy said, "Come on, mister, let us in. We can't get in your car until you let us, you know. Just let us in and we'll be gone before you know it." What the hell does that mean?
Vampire rules.
Exactly.
Why do they have vampire rules?
That is something that is going to come up later. There are people that think that they're vampires. I know that that's your domain, and we're going to get into some vampire stuff in another episode.
You just gotta keep going. You just gotta keep going.
Okay. Okay. So, yeah, but we'll be gone before you know it. What does that mean? Like, I don't understand. Like, what? Okay. Bethel felt, and this is all common BEK, black-eyed kid behavior, that he was under a spell, but it was broken with the knowledge that he should not fucking let them in the car. He refused them again, then made a quick getaway. When he looked back seconds later, the kids were gone. So just like the Men in Black, they have this kind of ability to appear and disappear at will. So we have another story. There's a report of a woman named Sharon. And I will say, the book that I got, that I used as a source, is a very, very good book about the black-eyed children. And the author believes that this is not an urban legend. This is something that is actually happening. And I guess the rationale behind that is that he interviewed a lot of people that had first-hand accounts, rather than urban legends. Usually that's a friend of a friend type of a situation.
Yeah, where it just becomes mangled beyond all recognition.
Yeah, and then the other reason why he believed these people is a lot of them were not looking. They were wanted to stay anonymous, or they weren't seeking anything. They weren't really seeking attention. All they really wanted was to commiserate about the fact that this happened to them, and it affected them. A lot of them they would have nightmares, or some of them became more spiritual. Like, there's a lot of different ways.
You're just trying to figure out what the hell happened to you.
Exactly.
And this is a theme across all of the stuff that we talk about, is like people having questions about the weird shit that happens to them, but because of the circumstances of that shit, they just can't tell anybody. Yeah. And that is so sad that we as a culture have decided, like, oh, there's no way this stuff could ever possibly be real, even if this person is experiencing something that sounds really like that is what is happening. Yeah. But I'm going to ostracize you for even telling me.
So, I'm going to take a little detour right now and talk about something that I talk about at our ghost story night, which is on the first Saturday of the month. Yeah. There's a story that I have myself of something that was Uncanny Valley, something that didn't seem human. I was in my ex-boyfriend's band, played at CBGB's up in New York, and we were walking around the city after the show. It was like 3 a.m, and we were sober, and there was a tree on the side of the sidewalk. We were looking at this furniture store.
Oh, I know this story.
Exactly. And all of a sudden, something is like scuttling around. I wish you could see me so I could do like the weird like jerky mode.
Like Zoidberg crab walk.
I don't know what Futurama really is. You act like I know what it is, and I don't. But this was some creepy shit. This person, and I use person in quotes just like I did for the Men in Black, was creeping around the side of the tree. And I got into this fight or flight that I've never experienced before or since. Like, and I've had guns pulled on me. Like, I've been in bad situations. This was something very different. This was like this preternatural fear. And I was terrified. And this person thing, whatever, like kind of, she had been creeping around underneath her jacket and she pulled it off, and it was like patches of bald hair, rotted out teeth. Like, yes, it could very well have been a meth head, but I'm telling you, it felt different. It did not feel like I was dealing with something human. And my ex-boyfriend and I at the time basically didn't even talk about it until we got back to Virginia. Like, and as soon as we got back to Virginia, we're like, did you see the fucking vampire woman?
Yeah. Did you see the fucking vampire woman? I was to say the crazy meth head in the fucking garbage. Yeah. And it's... Can human beings get mange?
Why don't you listeners email us?
I was about to say...
What's our email address? Do we not know?
I think it's just ookumspookumpodcast at gmail.com. Tell us, can people get mange?
Yeah, I would like to know, because there's definitely some mangy type stuff going on. But yeah, I will say that was fucking terrifying, and it was exactly what you talked about. Like, when I tell that story, even part of me is like, should I be telling this story? Do I sound like I'm crazy?
I don't think you're crazy for experiencing that. Like, that's horrifying, and I can give my estimates of, like, that's either like a woman who has mange and is on meth and has unfortunately lived a very, very hard life, or freaky other shit kind of seems possible, right? Because, like, that sort of, like, dagger through the heart fear, right? Like, because I've lived in this area for a good, like, 10, 11 years now. I'm used to DC. You get some characters in DC. It doesn't, like, you get nervous, you get scared. It's not fight or flight to that degree.
Nothing in my life has been fight or flight to that degree. It felt like I had this weird connection with this being that was telling me, like, I mean, it felt like literally I was getting attacked by a woolly mammoth, and that was that real rot gut fear. So yeah, so I kind of sympathize with these people that have had experiences with black-eyed children. So There's also a report of a woman named Sharon who actually had a black-eyed kid enter her vehicle. So this is one of the few examples of somebody actually letting them in.
Oh, boy.
So she went into a convenience store, and just like, oh God, I don't want to judge somebody's parenting skills, but she left her son in the car. Her son's probably, what, like 8 or 9?
Ooh, don't leave your kids in hot vehicles. Don't leave your pets in hot vehicles. That's how they die.
Yeah. So when she returned to the car, she looked in the rear view and saw a child with solid black eyes staring back at her. That must have been a shitty fucking day for her. She also smelled sulfur, just like the
I'm
men
coming out of that gas station. I see that in my car. I'm lighting a match, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
At that point, start over. You can make a new kid. 17 years, make another kid.
Yeah, she also smelled sulfur, so that actually kind of coincides with what they talk about with the Men in Black. So she was, of course, terrified and quickly jumped out of the car and grabbed her son. They went back to the store, where she explained that someone was in the car. The clerk wanted to call the cops, but Sharon felt this was supernatural and didn't want to seem crazy. That's exactly what we're talking about. So she declined to call the cops. She asked her husband to pick her up as she didn't want to drive her car again, and her husband ended up wrapping his car around a pole on the way to get her. Or the way home. I can't remember. I guess on the way to get her. Making the case for the black-eyed kids being a harbinger of misfortune. He survived with minor injuries, but their son fell ill for weeks. He had fevers, sores, stomach aches, blurred vision, and there was no discernible reason. He recovered in a few weeks after a lot of parental prayers. Power of prayer. We could do a whole episode on power of prayer.
Yeah, it's one of those things where collective belief and even individual will is a very powerful thing.
Mm-hmm.
You give me thoughts and prayers, you're getting punches and blows. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but apparently, in this case, supposedly that worked. So, who knows? I do think that, like, a lot of the stuff that we do is similar to prayer. It's just not Christian coded.
Yeah, well, and it's also more internal, I think. It's not asking... Sometimes it's asking a divine being for something. But usually it's more authoritative. You're not asking. You are manifesting something into existence. And you treat it as though it is true. And by asserting that, the universe will follow.
Yeah, I agreed. So Sharon asked her son if he knew the child. He said he didn't, but that the boy asked for permission to get in the car, which he granted, as the black-eyed kid said it couldn't enter without permission. Okay, so apparently kids can give them permission. So it's not like a legal thing.
Well, how nice to know.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very it's very interesting to me that it seems very consent focused.
Yeah.
Because, like, what does it want, right? Usually the vampire thing is it's an allegory for the devil, usually, right?
Yeah.
It's that you allow evil into your home and it will run amok, right?
Yeah.
But in this case, we don't know what these little things want. We know what happens if it gets in there, right? But the kid survived. There's no further...
There's supposedly illness, but that's the thing, is that they don't seem to have, like, ill intent in the way a vampire would.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be, like, they're not eating anything.
Yeah.
That would be my first understanding, is that it wants food.
Mm-hmm. So that actually is going to come up in a minute, but we will talk about that. But so I do have another encounter. A man named Harold had an encounter with a black-eyed kid when Harold was a teen. He was walking home in his rural area when he encountered a boy who said, "I want to go to your house. Take me to your house." Harold noticed the telltale black eyes and felt a chill. He declined the boy's request, and the boy said, "Now don't you run away from me. You're going to walk me to your house." Harold had been thinking about running, so perhaps the boy was reading his mind? When Harold could move again, he heard a noise as he was going away from the child. He heard a noise like a bobcat howling as he got away. When Harold told his mother about the encounter, she told him that she thought he'd met, quote, the devil himself.
How strange.
Yeah, the bobcat thing is kind of creepy, right?
Have you ever heard a bobcat make that noise?
No, but I've been face to face with one. It didn't make any noise, but I was walking around my parents' golf course. Not that they have an entire golf course to themselves, but they live on a golf course, and I did see bobcats are the ones that are around here, right?
I think bobcats are in this area. The last time I dealt with one, they were picking ducks out of our little mini farm, so to speak. We raised ducks in Oklahoma, mostly as pets, but also for eggs and things like that. And my mom basically had to shoot one because it was trying to drag the duck out by the neck through the cage or like through the fencing. And that is not a pleasant noise. So I empathize.
No, yeah, I wouldn't like to hear that. But yes, the mother thought that he had met the devil himself, and we know a little bit about the devil himself. So when I first heard of the Black-Eyed Kids, I was told that they were simply an urban legend and nothing more. The fact that many people describe encounters similar to Bethel's, and the fact that there are many friend of a friend accounts, point that there may be some copycats looking for fame rather than anything rooted in fact. But I'm an optimist, and when researching the Black-Eyed Kids, I read a very good book called Simply Black-Eyed Children by David Weatherly, which I've mentioned before, and he interviewed many people with actual first-hand accounts, mostly by people he claimed were reluctant to come forward and had nothing to gain other than the knowledge that they were not alone. Some of the commonalities people attribute to Black-Eyed Kids include hypnotic thoughts, preternatural fear, a vague feeling that they're not human or are impersonating humans, the insistence that they must be invited into the house or car of the witness. They never force their way in. Okay,
That is a big one.
yeah. So that's definitely something that's a little bit strange about this. And then they have strange requests like rides to come in to watch rides or to come in to watch TV. A lot of people after the fact, if they have a lot of like exposure to them, they feel sick, they have bad dreams, or sometimes misfortune like accidents or death happens after the fact. Not death for them, but like kind of like they would be harbingers of death or omens of death.
Yeah, just like general bad omens, sort of the same way that Mothman is. Like, he shows up, something bad's gonna happen.
Yeah, and just like with Mothman, we're not really sure if he's trying to warn us or if he's the
He's
reason
starting
why,
a sexy new religion, okay?
Okay, well, I mean, good for him, right? So we made this a two-subject episode because there's a lot of overlap between the Mibs and the Becks. Some people think that they're one and the same, just different projections. Weatherly covers many theories of the Becks, including hungry ghosts, which are Chinese spirits who wander the earth after death with an unquenchable need, searching for something even they are unsure of. Although life force energy is a good guess.
That reminds me of is that the same thing as the Jiangxi?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, the hopping vampires.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they, you know why they hop?
Why?
It was a funerary practice. I think amongst, basically when someone would die, very poor people didn't have the money to like, they didn't have the land to bury people on or whatever else. And so the local Taoist priest would basically tie the dead people to a pole. And then two Taoists, like two priests, would basically carry these people hanging upright, right? So their heads are tied up, their feet are at the bottom, to the burial site. But in the dark, because the dead in China are traditionally dressed in white and priests wear black, it looked as though they were hopping up and down because they're attached to string on a pole.
Okay, no, that's not the same thing at all. So what this is basically are people that get trapped in like an in-between space, like a liminal space, right? Mm-hmm. So they have, the hungry ghosts are kind of looking for what we don't know exactly, but they're hungry for something, like you mentioned mm-hmm. earlier. And so they're more traditional spirits rather than they are, corpses.
A speech, or
exactly.
Basically like a zombie of some sort, yeah.
Yeah, so they're more ghosts than anything else. Another of the theories is that they're devils. They have seemingly evil intent, but don't
I love
seem to have...
the very specific term, devils.
Exactly, devils.
Demons.
The black eyes might be a nod to the fact that they are fallen angels. So that apparently happens.
Well, it happened to one guy in particular.
Yeah. The morning star. So demons, hence the foul smell that they sometimes have, much like the men in black. So that would be the sulfur that we mentioned. And the thing with, okay, so you are more of a demon person than I am. You know a lot more about this, but mm-hmm. according to this book that I read, demons, sometimes they have like a part of them. If they're trying to manifest as humans, there's a part of them that's demonic that still is like a residual energy that they have.
Yeah. For most, like, any sort of malevolent entity like this, they tend to have a hard time approximating it all the way because they're losing their human memories, their connections, things like that. That's why they look for them in other people.
Yeah, so that's the possibility. The black eyes are that, that's the part that didn't change with them when they, and again, this is like the Men in Black where it's like they're approximating humans. So yes, vampires was another concept. I don't think they are for a lot of reasons.
It's very gauche to turn a child.
Yeah. They also very rarely interact with their victims physically. There was only one story that I read where a woman was touched by one of the children. It grabbed her wrist and she said it was cold.
Oh my.
But that is literally the only time that I've read anything about anyone getting touched.
So they usually will avoid contact if at all possible. Okay.
Yeah. And apparently they're not very, they don't seem to be very convincing because a child let the black-eyed kids in the car, but in general, these people are not, they feel like they're being compelled, but then it's not very,
yeah, they're not
thorough.
Yeah.
They're not thorough.
Whatever is happening here, they really seem to be banking on your assumption of innocence.
Yeah.
It's assuming you'll see a child and then you'll stop thinking about it
that
past
is
that point.
Definitely, and I think for people like you and I, the fact that it's a child would creep us out more than anything.
Yes, right? because it's a symbol of innocence.
Yeah.
You are wearing the skin of something that is innocent.
Yeah. There's also a concept of them as jinn, which is unfortunately called genies. Don't like that.
Yeah.
I know. Native to the Middle East, jinn are one of 3 sentient creatures along with men and angels, and they were created from smokeless flame. They have the ability to possess humans and might be doing so to living children. Possibly spirits of the dead. There are reports of ghosts with black or missing eyes. Harbingers of the end times. That is one of my favorite concepts.
Ooh, yippee! We're almost done, guys!
Oh my god.
We can leave this shithole soon!
Exactly. I'm so excited. I'm running right into the blast. I cannot wait.
I'm hoping I, ghoulify, in Fallout, and I just become, this horrible, scarred, sexy pirate queen, like Hancock.
I don't know what any of those words mean.
That's okay. Some of our listeners think I'm really cool right now. That's what I do it for.
Okay. Yeah, we talked about that earlier, about the hearing our own names. So Harbingers of the End Times, kind of like that, actually. Omens of disasters like Mothman. This one I really don't agree with, and it's kind of offensive. Trickster deities such as Loki.
Gross.
Exactly.
Somebody who worked with Loki very early in their practice, he doesn't do this shit, guys.
Exactly. Yeah. The concept behind it is that they can shapeshift or play tricks on humans and seem to have superhuman telepathy. That could be a lot of things, though. I don't think that Loki is messing with that kind of shit.
He's a god. There are much more, efficient ways to get attention.
Okay, so we also have thought forms or tulpas, which thrive on fear and can bring forth form from concentrated thoughts. Or, like we mentioned with the Men in Black, manifestations of the collective unconscious, how Jungian.
I don't think these are tulpa or egregores.
Yeah.
I don't. I think egregores take too long. You need a lot of people to believe that something is true.
Can you talk about what a tulpa and an egregore is, the difference?
Yeah, so tulpas, basically, the difference between a tulpa and an egregore is how many people made it. So, a tulpa is usually made by one individual for a specific reason. So you think about something or this figure so hard, so long, that it essentially becomes real. So many people understand this as imaginary friends. So if an imaginary friend suddenly started having a will of its own, it's become a tulpa. An egregore is a collectivized belief that because so many people believe it to be true, it functionally is. So that can be things like the Men in Black or large-scale phenomena like this. It can even be specific entities. I think we talked about this a little bit in the Sally house, where even if that was nothing, they completely lied about everything up to this point, so many people believe in the story of this little girl demon that she functionally is real.
Yeah.
If she was not already.
Absolutely. Okay. So again, we talk about with the Men in Black, the collective unconscious, the projection of the shadow self.
If my shadow self is a little girl with black eyes, something bad happens, Sarah. Something didn't cook all the way.
Yeah. Weatherly posits that if it is some sort of shape-shifting entity, that it chooses the form of a child, perhaps to get us to let our guard down, like we were just saying. Most people, not us, find children innocent and lovely, and they're more inclined to want to help children. If a child comes up and says, I need a ride, or I need money, or I need to use a phone, or whatever, a lot of people will go ahead and fall for that. But I actually find it doubly creepy that they're kids. And kid ghosts, no thank you.
Well, and you also notice, what's the most recent story of these? What year was the most recent?
I mean, there are some from this year.
From 20... Okay.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, what kid doesn't have a phone?
Yeah, true.
Every single kid in this world has a phone.
Yeah.
And that's not even, because of any sort of, entitlement. It's a safety thing.
Yeah.
Parents need to know where their kids are at all times.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the likelihood of school shooters has made it to where every kid at all times has a phone.
Yeah.
There is no reason some freaky little girl should come up to you and go, I don't have a phone, I don't have this, whatever. Can I get in your car?
Yeah. Final theory is that, you guessed it, they're aliens or alien hybrids.
They're baby mibs.
Yeah. Baby mibs.
This is the life cycle. We just need the teenager or the pupa.
Yeah, and that the black-eyed kids are made of the same otherworldly DNAs as the mibs. Like I said before, the multiverse is strange, and I put nothing past it.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is basically a new sort of dark entity, that this is how it chooses to persist, is it takes on an innocent form and covers itself as much as it can. It banks on the innocence, or the innocent guys that it's chosen, working. They go in there, achieve something, but what is that something?
I mean, there's a concept that they thrive on fear, and that's what they're eating, is fear.
Possibly.
Yeah.
And I mean, it clearly seems to be working, if that's the case. For me, Mibs definitely seems a little bit more plausible than this. I wouldn't be surprised if this ended up just it was dark. You can't really see people's scleras that well. But also, once again, if there's a pattern, follow the pattern.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I put nothing past the multiverse. I put nothing past the universe.
She does like to surprise us.
Yeah, right. Oh my God. So that is the wrap up then for the Men in Black and the Black Eyed Kids. Hopefully we don't have any encounters with either of them, because they scare the shit out of me.
Me when I see Black Eyed Child punt. Look at this convenient little football.
On that note, thank you all so much for joining us tonight, and we are going to be recording our next session.
Tune in next week, folks, for Countess Dracula, the Bloody Countess Elizabeth Bathory.
Metal. Love it.
Good night, kids.
Good night.
And touch grass.
That was one of the most enjoyable half hours I've ever spent.
Oh, well, Vera, how could you?
Poor Ruth.